Hi everybody, this is Allison Dorrant coming to you from my home studio here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And I just wanted to say first a big thumbs up to everybody that has been supportive of my channel. I'm so grateful for you all. So thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to start with pulling a page from the 2024 Artist Almanac calendar, a collage fodder resource and daily calendar. So it's Tuesday, May 7th, and let's just flip through to see what page, what artwork we're going to get today. Get a little glimpse of some of the April days here. There we go. And I had purchased this sweet little frame at Michael's Canada, and this was one of the calendar pages I had popped in here from Saturday, May 7th. Really, really beautiful piece of art. I believe that was the last day I did a video with you all. So this frame is really cute. It has these tiny little magnets here, and it's just a perfect size for the calendar pages. So I'm just going to put in Tuesday, May 7th, and then it has this little base that looks like it's made out of bamboo. And again, it was just from Michael's Canada here. I'm not sure the name of it, but I will probably be able to link it. And the size looks to be about the size of an artist trading card. So I'm just looking to see if I have my measuring tape handy, and I don't. But anyway, it's just a really cute way of just displaying the day if you have this little calendar, or maybe if you've done a miniature piece of art. That's another great way of displaying your art. So I'm just going to put that over here, and I will link the Facebook page of this group in my description, and that way you can get on their list for 2025 if they do decide to publish another Artist Almanac calendar. I think these are just wonderful, and they sold out super fast. And I really don't know much about the group at all, other than I had purchased this deck through an artist friend who was involved, and she's in Edmonton, Alberta, Christine Karpiak. So we're kind of like neighbors here, and she's become a really good friend. So it's really neat how art can connect all of us. And anyways, so that's the 2024 Artist Almanac calendar. And I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to share today, although looking at this sweet little artwork of echinacea, I think that's probably what those plants are. It made me think about this sketchbook that I've been trying to kind of carry with me. I haven't been doing the greatest job, but I think I'm gonna try this summer when I'm out and about and walking the dog. Instead of doing voice memos or taking photos with my phone, I might just grab this little sketchbook. So this is a really great thin paper. So it's good for drawing. I tried to use some watercolor in here, but the watercolor, of course, made the pages crinkle a bit. This is just 50-pound paper, whereas when you do videos with me, I try to recommend over 98 pounds, but preferably over 140-pound watercolor or mixed media paper that holds water. So this Canson XL brand is really, really good if you're just starting out, and you can, get what's affordable, obviously, but this is a really great paperweight to start. And this little sketchbook, again, Strathmore is a great company as far as their products. I've really liked their products, and this is 50 pounds. And just going back to my little sketch of the echinacea, when you have these little sort of like art journals that you can travel with or take with you when you go out, it's just a great way of recording something and also training your brain how to record what you see in your authentic style, so in your own voice. So it's just a really, really fun practice, and I thought I would just share with you. I can share some of the other ones I had done. So these are wild roses, and of course, because I'd spent much of my, for my childhood summers I vacationed in Nova Scotia, and they have the most beautiful wild roses. And so the wild roses, the Alberta rose, are it's just such a beautiful flower to me. So I had done just some sketching of the rose. And my mom and I, well, my mom especially loves alströmerias. And so this was just trying to do a sketch of an alstroemeria. And I was using my Neocolor Caran d'Ache crayons to kind of fill in over top of the ink. And I did wet some of them. I activated some with water. And so that's kind of why you see a little bit of a painterly look. And then I was trying to really capture flowers that meant something to me and my family, and the forget-me-not flower, a very symbolic flower for my mom and I again. So I was just doing some little blue flowers. And then there's the echinacea. I love in the summertime here in Calgary when the bumblebees really go for the echinacea flowers. And then I have my blank page, so that is ready to have new inspiration when I go out. And so I'm just going to set that aside with my little card, and I'll show you what I've been up to. I can show you my printer, who's here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, Ken Chow, through Art Magic. This is an example of a canvas proof that he had dropped off to me. So this was of one of my art poetry paintings that I had just sold off of my website. If it lights you up, do more of it. So that's what I had written on the painting. And this is a reproduction of that painting. So this is made of canvas material, and Ken's really great because before we go ahead and reproduce the print to make, you know, cotton reg, otherwise known as fine art prints or canvas prints, we really want to see what the quality is like and how the colors turned out. You can see I embellished the moon in this on this canvas print. But if you do get your work reproduced into print, it's really fun getting, you know, samples or proofs just to see how it feels, how it looks. You really get an idea of the quality. So I just wanted to share that with you all. The other one, this was another way of doing a canvas proof. So this is made of canvas material, and this is my painting, which I titled Flourish. Now this was, well, for those of you that have been following me, you know that I do primarily watercolor, but I also do mixed media. I love painting with acrylics, but not all the time. Tends to be more of a summertime thing for me to really get the fresh air, get outdoors and paint larger with acrylics. And for me, art is, it's very kind of seasonal, and just like the seasons change, I sort of change my art practice with the seasons. So this painting, someone had reached out because they wanted a print of it, and my mom has the original, and it was done on wood panel. But Ken had dropped off this proof, and I think it looks really, really awesome. And what he does is, next to the proof of the actual full artwork, the full composition, he zooms in as best he can. So if I had an order for this Flourish to be, say, really, really a large canvas print, I want to know that that same beautiful color and mark making and detail will come through. Oops, I was going to try, you are quite zoomed in. And so what he does is he uses the canvas material and he creates a zoomed in just one area of detail on my artwork, and then we can really say, oh yes, this does absolutely capture some of the, you know, the different values, the how the color of the turquoise background is darker up here and how it kind of fades out, just like in the original. And you can see the beautiful line work and mark making, and it really is a beautiful print. And so I just thought I'd share that process with you, because I know some of you are also reproducing your work into print, and I always love to share my artwork when it gets reproduced into print and I can blow it up really large on canvas. So that's just something I was excited to see today. And oh, I know. So we also, instead of throwing out extra canvas material, Ken had a brilliant idea of making these canvas bookmarks. And they're just a really, really neat way of kind of, instead of a business card, having your work on something like a piece of material that may have otherwise been tossed out. So I really, really love that. I could even cut out some of these little images of my art and have tiny little art cards. So that's just kind of neat. He also prints those on the cotton rag, the fine art material. And if you're new to getting your work reproduced into print, and this is not what I planned on talking about today, but I love it because it just suits me, and hopefully it helps inspire just one other person out there. This is what a certificate of authenticity looks like, or at least this is the way I have designed mine to look like. So it has my name, says it's a certificate of authenticity that goes with the print, the reproduction. It has the title, Flourish, and then it has exactly what the ink is that's used for the reproduction process. So pigment ink on 100% cotton rag material. So cotton rag is just a really high quality watercolor paper. And when I print on a cotton rag, the ink is archival. It's considered to be, you know, light fast. It's sort of, how do I say, it's just a really, really, it's kind of the highest quality ink that you can get. I mean, everything fades with time. It's hard to get everything so it will last for, you know, several lifetimes. But so this is the certificate for my print Flourish, and then it also has the size. And so I try to stick with standard frame sizes just so my client has the ease of framing. Every country is a little bit different with standard frame sizes, but an example here in Canada would be, you know, 5x7 is quite a small size for artwork. Sort of like probably similar to what a photo, you know, if you got family photos done, that would be probably around 4x6 or 5x7. This is 8x10 inches, and then it kind of goes up to say 9x12, 11x14, 16x20, and so forth. So, you know, if you are thinking about putting your work into print and you are trying to decide on how to create sizes for your clientele, just keeping in mind that, at least in Canada here, custom framing is so expensive. And if you are able to put the print into a size that's standard for where they live and where they're going to get it framed, it does help. So I purchased these crystal clear bags for my prints just to keep them clean. So when they're mailed to the client, I mail them flat. And yeah, so this is so beautiful. This is my cotton rag print of Flourish, and I have an order for one that's 38x48 inches, which is really, really big. And I can't wait to share that with you all. I'll probably share it on my Instagram account just because it's so hard to show the scale on video. And yeah, but just wanted to talk about that. And this one is Find Your Light. And so another art poetry painting. You can see I embellished the moon up here. And I also love to embellish the prints if I can with, you know, different type of art supplies. So the reason I'm here sharing inspiration with others is what lights me up. And so on here I'd written, if it lights you up, do more of it. So for me, painting, creating is what brings me so much joy and calm and inspiration. It just keeps the inspiration going, but also sharing that inspiration is what lights me up, and that's why I continue to do these YouTube videos. I was thinking to myself when I would have friends come over, whether they're artist friends or not, I get so excited about wanting to share my latest, project or painting, or, I could just go on for way longer than they would probably want me to, especially if they're not an artist themselves. But I would get so excited when I have a friend pop by, and I thought, I'm kind of channeling all of that energy into my YouTube videos now. So this just works out beautifully. I'm gonna pull a card from my art poetry deck. And so if you're new to my channel, I had published an art deck of 71 works of my art. They're reproduced into the form of a deck of cards, and I titled it Art Poetry for Insights and Inspiration. And this is what the box looks like. Each card is a visual reminder that the present moment holds much beauty and guides us with new insights and inspiration. Choose a card in the morning or at night, or whenever a thoughtful moment invites. Art holds the power of connection and evoking change, and I'm grateful you chose my art poetry, and I'm grateful you chose to watch my YouTube channel today. So let's just do a little shuffle. And I'm kind of excited right now because I changed my tripod over to the left side. So I'm looking at it over there, and it used to be on my right side, and now I am right-handed. So it really was a challenge for me ergonomically to do videos, and I was thinking, what could I do to improve the videos, the lighting, how I feel, my back, my positioning. And so it's over on the left side right now, and it feels really good. So hopefully the lighting's good, because it just kind of changes everything I'm doing in a slightly different perspective. And this card I have never pulled. Out of all the times I pull a card from my deck, whether it's on my own or on video, and this says, write down your thoughts and feelings. And I think the reason I had created this card, I really liked the artwork. This artwork is a very different composition than I normally do. It's sort of very abstract flowers, and I had done this original on brown toned paper, like a tanned paper. So for the card, I made the background white, and so it looks quite different. I believe I might have this painting upstairs. I have to check. That's one thing I need to do, is a really good inventory before I move studios. But yeah, the colors just really spoke to me, and I created this deck for myself as a reminder to be present in the moment and really zero in on insights or inspiration about my day, about situations that, would be going on in my life. The reason I had said I chose the words, write down your thoughts and feelings, I'm really, really great at expressing myself through painting. When it comes to writing, for instance, when I was trying to write information about myself on my website, or if, I got on with a gallery or a show, they would be like, send us your bio, send us a bit of information about yourself. And, I could get through the short bits of writing, and I know so well why I paint and why I do what I do. And, I think what I am getting at, I've just always found writing to be really challenging. And so I really want to remind myself that there are so many benefits writing down what you're thinking and what you're feeling, and not judging it. So just like we are when we're painting, and how I encourage you not to judge what you're painting and what it looks like, it's very much the same as what, when you're writing. And there is a book titled The Artist's Way, and I'm just turning around to see if I have it. I think it is upstairs at my bedside table, because it is all about there's something called the morning pages in the Artist Way, and it's all about when you wake up in the morning, writing down for, I forget what the time limit is. They do say, you know, if you could write, I think maybe half an hour, 20 minutes or half an hour, just write whatever comes to your mind when you wake up. Don't judge it. Just that stream of thought, just let it out. And right now I'm kind of thinking, where am I going with this? But I created the card and I have that book. Why do I think, is it Julia Cameron? I feel like I'm getting that mixed up. I will link the book. It's a very popular book with artists and creatives titled The Artist's Way. They have wonderful quotes in the book, and I'm sorry if I have the title wrong as well. But I will link it, and my purpose of doing this card and having the book was to write down more of that stream of thought that oops, sorry, I just bumped you guys. Left hand side, I've got to remember that. It's just, there's so much benefit to writing, and then that writing, when it comes to painting, will translate into your art, finding your authentic voice. And anyways, we'll just skip to, I want to just pick another card right now because I can. What the heck? Let's just pick another card, and then we'll maybe do some painting. I don't know what we're going to do today. Oh, okay, well, this is great. This painting is my art poetry painting titled Dream Up, and it really made me think of having this garden in the sky, this dream, and it's just floating above in this beautiful negative space, this white space. And in this painting, I used colors that I really love. It has all of those colors that I try and incorporate into much of my work, as well as mark making. There's a lot of beautiful mark making in this card, so maybe that will kind of help direct this video today. Be still and activate all your senses. So just the importance of, you know, again, I was talking about the importance of painting as a way of expression, but another way of activating our senses is, what are we thinking and how are we processing that, and writing down what we're sensing in our environment. Just knowing that when you think of, just using all of your senses to get into your art, that's just a really great way to create. So I'm just gonna put this card aside here. I can kind of refer to it, and we'll just do, oh my gosh, I'm just looking at my neighbors and these dogs with raincoats and people that look like they're dressed for winter right now. Whoa, this book is well loved. So I'm gonna just take you, maybe I'll take you up to there. This is, my son and I were playing around. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I was attempting to do a black cat and I didn't finish this one, but it's pretty funny looking. And again, though not judging it, I forgot that this was in here, and I know how I would go back and finish it now, but I think I was taking one of Terry Runyon's classes, possibly on Skillshare, and that's another thing I can always link. But she painted the most beautiful cats with flowers kind of in them, and also she paints, I think, dogs, like cats, several other animals. So Terry Runyon is a wonderful artist, and I was trying to do some kind of, I don't even know how this came about. I'm a huge horse advocate and trying to help stop the live export of horses from Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg, so Canada, to Japan for slaughter, because they, not with sharing too much detail, but it's just a really horrific practice where they're put into crates where they can't move, and they're flying over 28 hours in the air. And these are animals that spook so easily. They're so sensitive, and they're alive when they're shipped, and it's over 28 hours often. But yeah, horses, that's something I want to be able to kind of, how do I say, capture in my art at some point in some way. And anyways, yeah, stopping live horse export is one of my, how do I say, I advocate for that. And with, there's a really wonderful songwriter, Jan Arden, Canadian singer-songwriter. I think she's a podcaster, maybe even actress, and she is working to help stop live horse export as well. And so anyways, I am gonna now go to, let's just see, I want to do maybe some kind of, well, I want to talk a little bit about mark making. And first, if you follow me, you know that this is how I clean my brush off. This is like my kind of my side sheet where I just get the pigment off. I use a lot of pigment when I paint, and this little side sheet, funny, there's a bit of a horse I can see in here, and I went over top. And this side sheet is a great way to practice mark making once the watercolor is dry. And, you know, maybe that's a really great place to start. So first I'll just show you how I create these marks. I mean, it looks quite basic, but I can, we can do an exercise in relaxation. So if you pull out your Canson or your watercolor paper, ideally over 98 pounds, but this one, I'm just gonna see if I can, oops, I'll zoom you back out for a second. And I'm just gonna reposition you guys up a little bit more. I'm really liking the tripod on the left. This is awesome. So hopefully everything looks good from your end. And so yeah, I recommend obviously whatever you can afford, whatever you have available, grab some paper. But for watercolor, ideally at least 98 pounds. So I'll work right on this 98 pound Canson XL Mixed Media paper. Don't be fooled if you go to the store and you see Canson XL watercolor paper. All that matters, it doesn't matter if it's mixed media or watercolor, just check out the weight. So nothing lighter than, I mean, 90 pounds is really, really thin. 98 pounds is better for sort of what we're going to be doing right now. Over 140 pounds is really ideal for, you know, if you really want to feel what it's like to do watercolor on a fairly good quality paper. So these are just some of my, I haven't gone through this for a while. When I was painting botanicals and my son and I were doing our fish, and some really beautiful flowers. And let's just do some basic mark making today. And more horses, which again, I'm not there yet, working on. We'll just start fresh on this page. And I have my 140 pound booklet out here too, in case we do a little bit more work that's a little bit more serious, not so much a warm-up. So I'll set that aside. So, I mean, this is a really, really great exercise. All you need is your watercolor paper, some watercolors, whatever's affordable to you. I'm going to use my Beam paints, this beautiful, I think it's birch, I'm drawing a blank, is it birch wood? This non-plastic refillable tray. It is just so awesome. I shouldn't say it's a tray, it's a palette. And when I go through all of the pigment in here, you can pop in replacements, and you can get those from Beam Paints Canada. And for those of you that are new to my channel, I do really love Beam Paints. It's just a really great Canadian company, and we'll just see when I zoom you guys in. For what we're doing, I think this is okay. I refilled my, what is this? Restyle, some kind of hair product. I don't really use much for hair products anymore. And what a wonderful water bottle. So there's probably a little bit of hair product going into this art today. But it works way better than the water bottles I bought to refill. I'm going to use a round brush, but you can use whatever brush you have. And I have to get used to, so right-handed, I'm going to actually put my palette on my right-hand side, and we're just going to do whatever we feel like. So I'm just going to get my brush wet, and I've activated my watercolors, and I might just kind of play around with color right on the sheet. And let's just I'll start with like this lighter color. Oh, I did put quite a bit of water in here, and that's okay. And what I do when I'm kind of cleaning off my brush is, with energy, I just put down the color. And I go into another color, and you can be kind of random, and you're really just putting down pigment with whatever brush you have. And it's super, super relaxing. And I think what I'm going to do is, while the color is still wet, I might mix it right over top of, like, let's just create some random fun marks with, you know, the orange over the yellow. And I'm not overthinking it. I'm just going with what I feel in the moment. And so you can be doing whatever you want. You might not even be painting. And I'm not going to clean off the orange off of my brush. I'm just going to dip into this. I think this is Strawberry by Beam Paints. It's either cherry or strawberry. And just putting it wherever I feel like it. And sometimes I start my acrylic paintings this way. And so you're just getting down a pattern, you're getting down color, and you're hopefully feeling really relaxed. I love the gold, it's so beautiful. And for some of you, you know, I know when I first started painting, right now I was just going to clean off my brush, but I'm not going to do that. You know, I would want everything kind of spaced out evenly. I would be thinking about it being maybe a final painting. You know, am I going to like it? But this is just a practice in play and letting go. And I think I am going to actually, it's funny I say that, I'm not going to clean my brush and then I feel like I have to clean it. I'm going to try and, without contaminating this gorgeous robin's egg color from Beam Paints, I'm just going to put that in here in some different areas, and I'm kind of responding to it. I'm working fast, but I'm going back over certain areas, and I'm kind of leaning more color to the right of the page. It's not intentional. I'm going to go straight into this green here. Kind of like a summertime green. And what's really missing for me is pink. I love pink. And I really, really, just looking at this, it makes me happy. I'm gonna just go right into this blue here, and maybe on my palette, I'm gonna mix in, I think this is a magenta, and I'm gonna make a purple. So I'm sort of mixing the robin's egg with this magenta and this, I think that's called Great Ocean, that really, really bright, kind of what we would call a royal blue. I don't use purple a lot, but I do want to get more comfortable with mixing on my palette. And then I kind of want to bring in this blue here. And maybe I'll bring in more, you see, I just contaminate my watercolors because it doesn't bother me with the way I paint. I am discovering, you know, this color is not something I would buy in the store. This red and blue kind of mixed together right here. But I really like it. Oh, and I thought it was a bit more of a burgundy, but it's a really, really beautiful, I don't know what that would be, like a dark magenta violet. You can turn your page. Oh, you know what? Oh my goodness. Okay, I've learned my lesson. I think my battery is running low, so I'm gonna plug you guys in before I lose you. Let's just see. Just one moment, please. Okay, the screen. Oh dear. Okay, the screen has gone black on me, but I've plugged you in, so I'm just gonna actually finish what I'm doing in case I've lost you. And we're gonna let this dry. Oh, I see that you've all come back. Phew. I've had that experience where it looked like I'm no longer recording because my battery died on me. And then I stop the video and I look back and I see that it was recording. And then the opposite has been true. So it's definitely learning. I think we're at about 37 minutes here. And I am going to keep this video shorter today, but I really didn't want to end here. Now I'm just going to put a bit of this lavender in here, a little bit of a larger brush stroke. And again, this is a really fun exercise with acrylic paints. And I'm kind of wanting to add in a darker color. I almost want to create mud, which would be my son's specialty right now. He's really good at creating muddy colors by just having fun mixing. That's just a really dark green, but if I add in maybe that red, maybe some more of that red, it's kind of a muddy green, but that's great. That's what I'm liking. Oh, interesting. I put it down and it's like a kind of a grayish green, but a wonderful neutral. And maybe I'm going to do some smaller lines just to see what it feels like, and using my round brush. And I really love the gold metallics, so maybe going back and maybe dropping in some gold into that muddy gray just to see what I get. And I'll mix that into the middle, and maybe I'll do more of a brown. So I think if I pull in some orange, that's more of a olivey green. Let's see what we get. And I'm just doing a variety of different shapes and just sort of enjoying the process. I find this very meditative. And I think what I'll do is, you kind of get the gist of it, is just doing mark making, getting colors down. There's so many ways we can go back to this page and use it you know, in, for instance, collage, or cutting it out to make a card for somebody. The possibilities are endless. I'm gonna let it dry though. And I'm just trying to decide. Oh, yeah, so I'm just gonna let this dry a little bit. And I want to show you a couple really awesome books that I don't know if I've showed you before, but oh, no, you know what? This is what we can do. These are dry. That was my intention. Ooh, this one's amazing. I love this because this is just intuitive, because I was not intentionally putting these colors down. I was just painting something else and created this on the side. So what I want you to do is whatever mark making supplies you have on hand. I mean, we all have mark making supplies that probably we don't even think of. You know, a paper towel roll that's finished, you can use that cardboard and dip it into paint and make circles. You know, there's a lot of artists that use vegetables that will cut potatoes into stamps and make marks. You could do finger painting with, you know, some non-toxic paints, or more toxic paints if you use gloves. So the mark making possibilities are endless. I really love just using pencil some days. And so what I'm going to do is just look at what's going on here for that color. And now that it's dry, I'm going to maybe just maybe turn this into a petal of a flower. And I see a bit of a leaf shape there, and maybe I want to just create different marks, different types of leaves in these shapes. I'll just see if you guys, I'll just zoom you in a little bit. And if you have, say, a white pen or a black pen, let's just use a black pen. You know, a black Sharpie is great. Let me just see if I have my Sharpie pens. Okay, I'm not seeing it right now. I'm gonna use, I'll use something that stands out a bit more. I might just use this black Japanese paint pen, this Posca paint pen. And this is in their medium tip. So 0.9 to 1.3 millimeters. And maybe we just want to draw, let's just see, I'm going to look in my camera, see what can you see. Maybe just drawing in right over top of the mark making with this black outline. And maybe you want to kind of almost doodle just without overthinking it. You always want to use acrylic paint pens over dried backgrounds, otherwise it will ruin the paint pen. That's sort of my signature leaf that I like to do in a lot of my art, that pattern there. And if, say, you purchased a new art supply, like, I'm just looking here. I have this, this is my son's grippy pencil by Faber-Castell. Now, what I would do is zero in on what color do I feel like. I'm just gonna move this cord for a second here. Where do I want to put it? make sure you guys are plugged in with the cord. Yeah, so if you purchased art supplies and they're sitting around and you're not using them, how can you use them? Well, if you have this background with paint on it, or again, a blank page, now this is much easier than a blank page, is really trying to figure out how can you sort of play with the supply and see if you like it, if you would buy it again. So this is just a red pencil crayon, and I'm just sort of doing a loose flower with it. I really like, from experience, I know I love red and pink, so I'm gonna just add in some tiny marks on this neon pink leaf. And that just makes me really happy to look at. So I might just try the orange one right here. So if you have pencil crayons laying around, this is a really good opportunity to just play around and see what color of background looks good with what color it is that you're using, your mark making tool. So I really, really like that. And this exercise, what it's doing is, if we can just let go and not think of creating a final piece, when you actually sit down to paint a painting, for instance, let me just show you, I'm working on this painting that this is one of the landscapes. I was trying a really different style, this landscape in more of a traditional sense with the horizon, not so much the abstract in the sky, you know. But when it came time to start mark making on this, the other night I was working on it, and it was really easy for me to say, put that green paint pen over that lighter green tree. Those marks were something I knew because I had done that on sort of like a cheat sheet, this page, you know, my art journal, something I was playing around with. I also had this bright pink, you know, bright pink sort of blot of paint, and I knew that I liked different shades of pinks, oranges, reds around it. And so I was playing with some watercolor pens there, and I just think that it turned out really neat. So I'm more confident because I have experimented on a sheet like this. And so that little tree I just showed you with the green paint, you know, that was something that, say, I could have picked out of my art journal as, you know, I like that, I want to repeat that somehow. Or if I had done it and I didn't really feel like my brain lit up, then I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to repeat it. I also, you know, am experimenting with, I love polka dots, but what if I'm not doing a polka dot, what kind of mark would I do? And so again, that was where this kind of like line work came from, and that's how it ended up in that painting I was just showing you. And again, it's like I just grabbed this paint pen because I'm not thinking about teaching you anything specific. I'm just thinking, I'm sort of bringing you on the journey of what my, how do I say, I'm tapping into my creativity by treating this page as like kind of an art journal of sorts. So I just decided I really want to add turquoise in these little leaf shapes here. And so it's just, again, like allowing yourself to let go and not to judge what you're doing. And you may not like some of it, but that's okay because you're learning what you like and what you don't like. And, you know, if I say, I'm trying to think of something else that would stand out. I mean, white pens can be, it's really hard to find a good white pen. I like this Japanese Posca fine tipped paint pen. but they're hit and miss. But I'm just going to show you, and whoops. You can tell that the nib catches a little bit on the page. But if you were, you know, if you'd purchased some white pens, try them out on like a cheat sheet before you go to your artwork. So I'm just trying to think. I think that's probably where I'm going to stop today. I have a bit of a cold, so I'm gonna turn off now and go rest up. And oh no, just before that, I'm gonna turn off my painting. But I wanted to show you some really awesome books from Uppercase magazine. If you've been following my channel, you know that I'm a huge fan of Uppercase magazine, which is printed here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. But I wanted to show you these gorgeous encyclopedias that Uppercase publishes. This is called A Mixed Bouquet, Art Design and Ephemera Botanica. And I don't know if these are sold out now. They could be, but I will link how you can purchase them if they're still available. And this one is called Art Supplies, Making, Manufacturing, and Creating. Let's just start with this one. And I'm just gonna make sure you guys are still in my view. I love Wendy Brightbill. I can tell this is just her work as soon as I opened this page. Wendy uses a lot of watercolor, acrylic, and oil paint. And anyways, I see her name right here. Oh, and this is too funny. There's Beam Paints. So I haven't looked at this encyclopedia for quite a while, but I love that on here is the Canadian company, Beam Paints. And they're non-toxic supplies, which are amazing. So I've really started to think about where I'm purchasing my products from, what's in them, what are they doing that's, good for the world, good for the environment. I'm really trying to do a little bit more research into products that I'm using and promoting before kind of investing too much in them. I'll just let you look at some of these beautiful pages while I'm just going to stop on one while I have a drink of my shake. So I have my Tommy Tippy cup. Cheers. This is, I've had this Tommy Tippy cup. I think that's what it's called from when I was a kid. It's so funny. Great cup. I knew I wouldn't dip into my shake if I had like a yellow Tommy Tippy cup on my table. So thank you, Mom, for saving that for me and my son. Okay, so this has so much inspiration in it. I'm not going to go through all of it today, but because I'm tired and I did want to revisit this book, I just thought this is a good time. So there are so many art supplies to choose from out there nowadays. And I love how Uppercase really highlights some great companies, some great artists. So here's Beam Paints, which is an Indigenous, family-owned Indigenous paint company, non-toxic paints. And they use very little plastic, and they're just a really wonderful company. These are those little paint stones that are wrapped in beeswax canvas that I use. And this is Anong Beam, who kind of took the company over from her parents. Really nice story there. And it's just so neat how they make their paints. This is one of my favorite colors, the wild salmon. It's just lovely. And then this is cute. It's smaller than this palette here. This is called the Birch. Oh, so it is birchwood. There you go. The mini cookie. And I love giving these as a gift for, you know, younger kids in my life. So there's, it highlights, of course, many artists in here. I'm just going to do a super quick flip through. So much color inspiration. And if you're thinking about investing in any new art supplies, you may want to check this encyclopedia out before investing. There's so many companies in here I still don't know much about. This down here just makes me think of what we were just doing in my video, is getting down, kind of just putting down colors and patterns, or not having a pattern at all. And I think it's just so important to take that pressure off of ourselves as creatives, that it doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to be something that you have to share, that you have to sell, that you know, it's just for yourself. So there's so much beauty in sharing what you do with the world if you choose to share it, but also the beauty of the process for yourself. Because if we can do something that lights ourselves up, it's just bound to be contagious. And if, you know, we're happier, those around us are happier and inspired. Those are really neat paintbrushes. So Jeannie Oliver, I think she does a lot of classes. This just gives you, oh, that's a really great inspiring landscape by Jennifer Orkin Lewis. Gorgeous work. I love that concertina style journal. And it can just be so inspiring. Looking at artist palettes. Woodless pencils, that's pretty neat. And I'm just gonna flip through a little bit quicker. And I will do another video where we take a bit more of a comprehensive look at this book. Here's Ray Missigman. Oh, no, Robin Marie Smith. I love her work. She does a lot of great online classes, I think. So just really, really so much inspiration in this little book. The other one I wanted to show you, and again, I'll do another video on this when we have more time, Botanica by Janine Van Gool. Oh, Estee McLeod. I am actually going to enroll in one of her courses because I love her work. And I am going to treat myself to one of her courses coming up. She just has the neatest style, and I think I could learn so much from her. So really, the possibilities are endless for botanical inspiration, floral inspiration in this book. And I know, and I've worked with, there's Carrie Schmidt, several artists in here. taken a lot of classes from some of these artists. I've met some of them online and in person. Pam Garrison, I love her classes on Creative Bug. Beautiful. She has a really unique color palette. Oh, and you know what I should say? It was actually Pam Garrison that inspired this painting. So I was really inspired by some of her classes, and this is one that I had done through one of her classes where she actually would teach her students to go out and to purchase flowers and arrange the flowers on a table, and she kind of taught her style, and I threw my own inspiration in this painting, and I don't know if people would be able to pick out that it was Pam Garrison's influence, because again, very a different voice coming through, which is a good thing. But I just wanted to say she has a wonderful class on Creative Bug in doing those classes. So we can spend so much time going through this book. Maybe we'll paint something sometime that was inspired by one of the artists, the artwork in this book. Okay, so I think I'm gonna probably leave off there. Maybe I'll just pull one more of my, one more card from my art deck. And this is my girl from my Matters of the Art series, Matters of the Heart. And on this page, well, first I should tell you a little bit about this painting. The original was done with fluid art, so not watercolor, and it's really hard to see from the art card, but there was such transparency in the blue paints that I had used in the fluid, the way that the color had moved, and it almost created a reflection in her face. And I was thinking about how our reflection shows up when we're, looking into water, for instance. This reminds me of her like coming out of the ocean, or her reflection, sort of my reflection, looking back, and that beautiful water image. I almost see like from an aerial view, like a landscape, sort of sandy beaches and coral and all the things underneath. Again, it's hard to tell. You can see more from the original, which I had sold a while ago, but practicing reflection is so important. And I learned that when I worked as a nurse, is just constantly reflecting on what you're doing and why you're doing it and how you can improve your practice. So I do that with art. I love to practice reflection and mirror confidence. So art has given me a lot of confidence, and I think it's, kind of one of those things, fake it till you make it. It will come. And that goes for the art practice as well, is just the more that we practice reflection, look at what it is that we're creating, and mirroring confidence from people we admire, it's pretty neat how it influences us down the road. Okay, so I'm gonna go rest up see if I can get rid of this cold, and thank you for joining me today.